Okay, how are you today, Reverend Young?
I'm good.
Good. Okay. So, why did you ask me to come visit you today? I kind of have an idea, but if you could explain it a little bit.
Sure. Well, you're going to be doing this Conversations of a Lifetime at my church, and I wanted to be able to know a little bit about what it is because people will always be asking me about these kind of issues, end of life issues.
Right.
We're always talking about that. And so I wanted to have a little bit of background of it first, so that after you're done, I can answer questions as well, afterwards, and be working with people one-on-one when they have to deal with some of these issues.
Okay. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about advanced directed planning.
Okay.
Is what it kind of the gist of what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
And the first one we're going to talk about is a durable power of attorney.
Okay. So you're going to explain what all these
right,
different things
for
are.
healthcare. Yeah.
Okay.
So a durable power of attorney. So a power of attorney for healthcare.
Okay.
Okay. And first of all, do you have a power of attorney for healthcare?
No, I don't think I do. I think I
Okay.
had one and then I got divorced, and I probably need to make a new one.
Okay, so after a death, divorce, or
Yeah.
a disease, kind of recommend redoing it. So
Yes.
okay, and then how about a living will?
No.
You don't have a living will. Okay, and then a third. So those are the first two things, and then the first
Okay.
one is just organ donation. If you ever that issue comes up, just as you know, I sent you the link.
That I do have on my driver's license.
Oh, okay, great, that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent you an email link to this website called Conversations of a Lifetime.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful place to start. And so I see you pulled it up for me on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would recommend, the best way to educate yourself personally about this process is to go through it yourself.
Okay.
So we're not going to actually fill this paperwork out for you, but I'm going to kind of talk to you as if I was talking to a client that needs to fill this out for themselves.
Okay.
Right? And so then you would have a better idea
of what the folks will do.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So one of the first things the Conversations of a Lifetime asks you to do is this exercise where you fill out this values worksheet. And I'm not going to ask you to do it now. I'm going to give you this whole packet of information. And what this does is this starts the conversation about end-of-life planning and about your medical preferences. Questions you may never think about. For instance, how do you feel about making a contribution to medical research or teaching? And it has a scale, it's very important to you or not so important. So let's say that you wanted to appoint someone to be your power of attorney in case something happens to you and you weren't able to make your own medical decisions. That's what a medical power of attorney would do. You appoint an agent as your power of attorney. You would really want to make sure that they knew how you felt about these type of values. And the way to make them aware of it is to make yourself aware of it and sort of go through this process of filling out this values worksheet. I think this is very valuable. And this is something that may take a while. And it might change too. It might change as you learn more in life or with different experiences. So that's the first thing. So you can just set that aside and you can go through it on your own. We don't have a lot of time today. So,
Sure.
This one is, can you or your loved one answer these questions? So let's say I have asked you, Linda Young, to be my medical power of attorney. Do you know if I have a preference to die at home or in a hospital? So this is asking, this is something that you would probably be, hopefully, the discussions you would be having with that power of attorney.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you this. So these are just 5 questions, and it goes a little bit more detailed into this. There's some movies, video clips on that website that go through this.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
So you can put that off to the side. Just some stuff to start thinking about. This is the Conversation Starter Kit. And this is how to start the conversation. Stuff to get ready, stuff to start thinking about. And some interesting facts and figures that I'd share with your church if we decide to go ahead with this presentation.
Sure.
So, for instance, 60% of people say that making sure their family is not burdened by tough decisions at their end of life or with a medical crisis is extremely important. But yet 56% have not communicated their end of life wishes to their loved ones.
Wow.
70% of people say they prefer to die at home. Yet 70% of people die in hospitals. nursing homes or care facilities.
Right.
So this is some other starter kit, again, something you can go through that we can spend more time, and it's got a place to put some questions or how you felt about reading through these statistics.
Okay.
So this was the getting ready stage of this process.
Okay.
The next one is to get set. Okay, I've made a decision to start having these conversations. And again, this asks some questions about how you as a patient, let's say you were critically injured or have a serious medical condition, how do you, what do you like to know? For instance, the first one, I only want to know the basics, or I want to know as much as possible about my health care condition. And so again, this can help, you and your medical professional, you decide how much is disclosed to you as a patient. And this is sort of very personal and individualized. So it helps break down some of those questions in, again, a preference scale. So that was the get set. So this is starting the process, okay?
Okay.
So there's that, and we can go through that. This one is who are you going to have these conversations with? Who should I talk about my end-of-life care with?
Right.
So mom, dad, siblings, priests, ministers, rabbi. There you go, right? And I'm sure you get this all the time. And people,
well, a lot of people don't until it's too late,
right.
When
is a good time to talk?
Yeah.
At the next big holiday, or, before I get sick again, after or before a baby arrives. Sometimes that people might want to think about this. Where are you going to have this conversation? Kitchen table, on a walk or hike. Maybe when people don't have their little gadgets with them, and they're Googling something while you're trying to talk to them. So again, this is just some tips and other information about this is getting the conversation rolling, starting to think about it. So this one then gets into so you've made the decision to do this end-of-life planning and who you're going to do it with and when. This is, excuse me, this gets into a little bit about the verbiage of these advanced directives. So you've got the advanced directive, an AD, a document that describes your wishes, your individual wishes. Then you've got the healthcare proxy, which is another way of saying your medical power of attorney. Who are you going to give this durable power of attorney to make medical decisions for you? These are kind of some legal terms that maybe we're not quite familiar with.
Right.
It changes from now. I understand your church is in Kentucky, so some of this might be a little different. The great thing about Conversations of the Lifetime is that when you start flipping through it, it will take you directly to Kentucky documents.
Oh,
so I have printed out Ohio documents that are in here, but it tells you it's got the links to Kentucky. Okay. And so in case you have parishioners from different states. Right.
We do.
So I thought so. And then a living will. A living will specifies what medical treatment you want or don't want at the end. You want or don't want. I think people need to understand it's both. At the end of your life, when you're no longer able to make your own decisions. Okay? So this is just this is step 4. Okay. So now we're going to get into, this is the actual Ohio State, excuse me, healthcare power of attorney. And so this is the actual document. It's this easy to get off the internet and fill out. Okay. And I think a lot of people feel that they need a lawyer to do this, and maybe it's expensive, and it sure isn't. Right here it is. We could do this right now if we had enough time, or if you were ready. Yeah. So this goes through, and it starts with, so I have a completed healthcare power of attorney. So this is what we're going to do. I have added special notes to my healthcare power of attorney. I have I have a guardian, nominated a guardian on my healthcare power of attorney. I have completed a living will declaration. And then it says I have added some special instructions to my living will declaration. So, here it starts. This is a great tool, this healthcare power of attorney, because it starts with some more terms. So what is CPR? What is do not resuscitate? So, it starts right with the definitions right on this document. Okay. So, what is healthcare power of attorney, life-sustaining treatment, comfort care. Excellent. Yeah, so these are some terms that, you can start going through and start familiarizing yourself with, right? Yeah. So, but one thing, now you had mentioned that people have asked you, what it means to be the healthcare power of attorney. Right. So, this kind of breaks it down right here, what a healthcare power of attorney usually is given. these sorts of powers. So I think there was about 11 of them on here. Now you could cross these out and say, I want my healthcare power of attorney to have all but this one, or there's different things that you can set up for that. So, excuse me, this is checking the time. So, right here, if you were giving somebody you're making them your power of attorney for medical, they are consenting to the to consent to the administration of pain relieving drugs or treatment or procedures, including surgery. So, this is giving them a lot of decision making power for some very specific things. If you are in terminal condition, this living will declaration, will address, it'll start to talk about including artificial or technically supported nutrition or hydration. That's why it's very important to make sure that person knows if you want to be put on, let's say, artificial oxygen or a feeding tube. So there's a lot of, stuff that's why it asks you all those decisions about your wishes and what you like. Okay. So, there's...
So it's best to go through these conversations first, and then fill that out.
I would.
Okay.
And so this is right here. You can circle the limitations of your agent that you've appointed, the person you appointed. So, for instance, my agent cannot order the withdrawal of life-sustaining treatment. So you can really specify. Right. But now imagine this scenario, which I'm sure comes up, is that someone has appointed you and signed you up as their power of attorney, and you don't know it until they're in the hospital, and you get a call. Excuse me, Miss Young, could you come make this important life-saving decision, or life changing decision for this person? Right. So I think it's very important. Who knows if somebody out there has appointed you, but before you appoint someone, I think it's very important to have,
Sure, so they know what my wishes are, and
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, excuse me, we just have a couple more minutes. Sorry. So actually, this has on the one page exactly what powers you can give them and which ones you don't give them. So you can, and then if you see there's the spot to write in very specific instructions. Now this can really come into play if someone has a specific condition that they know they have a heart condition that or just something or a certain type of cancer, and so that's also where conversations need to happen with our medical care providers. Because some of these are kind of complicated, some of this terminology is complicated. Some of the life-saving measures are, kind of complicated. So, so again, here you would put the guardian, the person you're assigning the guardianship to be your power of attorney, their address and telephone number. They also have an alternate, which is nice because, what if they can't get a hold of this person? Now, there are a lot of people out there that have someone appointed that is no longer living, too. That's another thing. Yeah. Is that, whoa, shoot, my sister's my power of attorney and she passed away years ago. Right. So something, again, to think about.
So keep that updated.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to give this to you, and we'll talk about it more as you go through it if questions come up. There's lots, space to leave notes, too. Okay. The other thing is... This is just a little information about donor registration. It's part of the kit, the Conversations in the Lifetime kit. Okay. So, even though you have it on your driver's license, this gets a little bit more specific on what exactly you would be willing to donate or not donate, or some other things right here. Small bowel, intestines, heart. Wow. Whereas the state one is just very generic. Do you want to be an organ donor? Right. And, I might not want somebody to have my ovaries, let's say, or, just people, whatever people think. So there's that one. And then this is a living will declaration, which we don't really have time to get into. Okay. But again, we can read through that, and there's some great videos on there that kind of talk about it, shows people actually doing this. Again, this is in here, and it tells you what it's got all the, whether or not you want life-sustaining treatment or not, or what you want to withhold or not in case of a major illness. So there's that. Okay. And then this is the DNR, and this is a little bit more specific on whether you want cardiac, if you go into cardiac arrest, what they do and whatnot. This actually has to be signed by a medical professional. Okay. But again, starting to think about, this is often used more with people with a terminal illness that already. So, So it'll tell you what they will and will not do. So in case of if you resuscitate, if you're in heart failure or something like that. So okay, so
Okay.
I know that's a lot to throw at you, and
it's a lot to look through.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. And so if you want to make a list of questions, and then when we meet, and that'll give me an idea maybe of what questions your parishioners have too when I meet with them, because I'm sure they'll have lots of questions. The videos and this website will address probably the majority of what questions would come up or not. Hopefully, so that's kind of the plan to go through this website. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
So
It's
I
been
hope
very
that's
helpful.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was great to see you. I'm going to leave you with all this paperwork to read through.
Great.
Okay. Good luck to you.
Thanks.